we are. So, continuing with our winter practice, focusing more on the kidney and bladder meridians, and as you all know, just like not spending too much time on the floor with our kidneys in contact with the floor, which may be a little bit colder. Let me just move my teaching folders out of the way. Oh gosh. So we've got the kidney line that runs up from the sole of the foot about 1/3 of the way down, and that's not including the toes, so 1/3 of the way down, and in between the second and the third toe metatarsal we've got this kidney point, kidney one, called the bubbling spring point. So maybe you can find that point underneath the feet, and it might be a little bit, can be a little bit tender, but a very important energy point. Let's just gently trace that kidney line up through the insides of the legs, or just the front insides of the legs, up to the base of the collarbones. And then the bladder line running through the inner corners of the eyes, looping over the head, down either side of the spine where they split, and then they come back together, down outside of the legs and into the little toes. So working with those. Good. And as we like to do in the winter, especially on a cold and wintry morning, we'll go into some Taiso, but just spending a few moments in mountain pose, connecting with the kidney line. So you may want to lift the toes and spread them wide, and feel that same lifting sensation coming up through the shins, the thighs, into Mula Bandha, the root lock. So have that sense of lifting in the pelvic floor. At the same time, we've got the tailbone dropping straight down so that the pelvic bowl is even, parallel to the earth. The spine long and the back of the neck long. The shoulders dropping down away from the ears. The fingers drawn to the earth by gravity. And you can place the toes back down, but maintaining that sense of lifting. The breath even, automatic and relaxed. And taking a moment just to orientate the awareness fully into the body. So becoming alive and aware of your whole being internally and energetically. Allow the gaze to lift if you closed your eyes. Yes, and we're going to work with Zen Taiso, which the sort of warm-up exercises that you might experience if you're waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning in the monastery, or also alternatively if you are undertaking a Japanese martial art, this is quite a common practice. So we'll start with the one arm, doesn't really matter which, but we're going to make big circles, first forwards, and as we reach forward, we're going to inhale, and as we bring the arm down on the other side, we're going to exhale, and I'll count in Japanese. So, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Let's take the other arm. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Change direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Other arm. Ich, and same direction. Ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Both arms. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Hantai, other direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Oh, feeling warmer already. Good. Let's take some circles with the shoulders. We're going the same thing. We're going forward as we inhale and exhaling as we bring them down. So forwards. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Hantai. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Good. Now we're just going to roll the head from side to side. So just take it very, very gently. First thing in the morning. So starting on one side. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. And now imagining we've got a sort of paintbrush coming out of the nose, and we're going to make circles with that, first in one direction and then the other. So ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Best to close your eyes. I'll go in the other direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Oof. A little bit confusing that for the vestibular canals in the ears that give you your sense of balance and orientation. Let's carry on. What's next? Oh yes, let's make circles with the hips. So taking the feet maybe slightly wider than hip width. And make circles. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. The direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ju. Let's take the wrists in front of the hands, interlace them, and we're going to, I don't know how to describe this movement, sort of circulate them in one direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, Sure, and if you can, go in the other direction without confusing yourself too much. Ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. Good. Knees, bringing the feet together, taking circles in one direction and then the other. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. Tai. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. And into the toes and ankles, so coming onto the tip of the big toe, making circles. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. Other direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. Other foot. One direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. Other direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. Good. And then a few, let's take some side bends. So we'll go from one side to the other side just to get a little bit more dynamism in. So taking one side, arm up, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. And some twisting movements. So ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, go, ja. Good. Okay, just take a moment to shake anything out. Just straighten up my mat. Good. And we'll go straight into some sun salutations now that we're nice and kind of warmed up. So, coming to the front of our mat, finding our mountain pose once more. Tuning into the breath, as we always work with the breath. We're going to start, I think, seeing as if we've already done some warm-up, we'll do Surya Namaskar B, I think, and then C. So B is a slightly more energetic one, and you can step or jump back when the time comes to jumping back. But before we do that, let's take a few orientating breaths and movements. So inhaling, arms up overhead. And exhaling, we're going to fold forward, bend the knees just as much as you need to. And rolling up on the spine, so stacking the vertebrae one on top of the other as you come back up. The head comes up last. One more, inhaling, reaching, exhaling to fold, bending the knees as necessary, being gentle with yourself and just rolling up on the spine, opening up those bladder lines. So generally speaking, in the morning we feel a little bit stiffer, because, especially in the spine, because when we've been sleeping, the discs in between the vertebrae, they get all hydrated and plumpy. So whereas at the end of the day they're kind of squashed down, in the morning they've plumped up, and so that means that they're kind of expanded in between the vertebrae, which typically makes us feel a little bit stiffer in the morning. So inhaling one more time. Let's just work into that, moving out that stiffness. And I'm thinking about those bladder lines running up through the back of the body also. Head's coming up last. Okay, let's go into Asana, Salutations, Surya Namaskar. Don't worry about the terminology. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, coming up with a flat back, lengthening from tailbone to crown. Exhaling as we fold forward. Actually, I've made a mistake. We don't start it like that, but never mind. We'd step or jump back and lower all the way down. Inhale, coming up to a nice, gentle, easy back bend. First one of the morning. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up to downward facing dog. Turn the left foot out, 45 degrees. Step forward with the right, and we'll come up into a warrior pose, warrior one. Exhale as we fold down and lower down. You can do knees, chest, chin, or you can do chaturanga. Gently into a back bend. And as we exhale, lifting the hips back, turning the right foot out, 45 degrees. Stepping forward with the left, coming up into the warrior on the other side. Hands back down on the exhale, dropping back down or lowering down slowly. Inhaling to come up into the back bend. Exhaling, lifting the hips back into a downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stepping or jumping forward, lengthening on an inhale, exhaling to fold, and I'll correct the bit of the posture at the end, bending into the knees and coming up into a chair pose. So you should be able sitting back into your haunches and seeing your toes, lifting in the pelvic floor. Draw the shoulder blades down, and so the shoulders are not hunching up around the ears. And you can lift your gaze to just the space beyond your hands. Good. And pressing into the heels, coming back up to standing. Good. So yeah, the Surya Namaskar B starts with the Katasana, but never mind. Let's take a different sun salutation. We'll take Surya Namaskar C. Inhaling, arms up. I'll try to get it right this time. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, coming up with a flat back, lengthening like your tabletop. Exhale, hands down. Big step back with the left foot. Staying on the toes of the left foot, we come up into a lunge. Hands back down on an exhale, stepping back into downward facing dog. Although in the Hatha tradition, they call this mountain. Coming forward, so you can come onto your knees and come down through knees, chest, chin, into back bend. Hands back down, lifting back up the hips into downward facing dog. Stepping forward with the right foot. Give it a hand if you need to. This time we place the knee down. Bring the hands to the front leg, front knee. And maybe we can reach back with the fingers. Be mindful that you're not crushing down in the lower back. So the opening, to try and lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel to stabilize the lower back, to enable you to open up in the upper back. Good. And dropping down into it also. So we're lengthening here through the front of the body into the hip flexors that get so compressed if we spend a lot of time sitting. Good. When you're ready, bring the hands back down. We'll tuck the toes of the back foot under, step forwards, lengthening once more on an inhale. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling, coming all the way up. And hands down through breath. Good. Let's take that on the other side. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling, flat back, lengthening. Exhale, fold, hands down. Big step back with the right foot this time. Coming up into a lunge. As we exhale, hands back down. Stepping into downward facing dog. Coming forward, you can turn knees, chest, chin, or coming down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to up dog cobra, Sphinx. Just be going where is possible for you without going too far. Tucking the toes under, lifting the hips back up into downward facing dog. Stepping forward with the left foot, give it a hand if it needs, and this time placing the right knee down. Hands coming to the front knee, extending through the front body, and maybe bringing the arms in to lengthen through the front body. Sinking down to release any tightness in the fronts of the hip flexors. Good. And exhaling to fold forward, back foot steps forward to the front, lengthen on an inhale, exhale to fold. Inhaling, coming all the way up, and then hands down through prayer. Nice. So we've done 2 sun salutations. Let us step wide onto our mats. Just check what we're doing here. Yes. Have a sip of tea. So stepping wide onto the mat. So how low you go will be down to you. You've got the knees directly over the ankles and the heels. And the feet out at 45 degrees. So just be mindful that the knees aren't rolling in. We want to be able to see the toes. And then also be mindful if it's like, oh, have you started to lean forward a bit? Just check in there. We want this sense of dropping straight down. So feel your tailbone dropping down like a plumb line so that the upper body is nice and erect. Good. From here, bringing the arms into prayer and the legs staying exactly as they are, bringing the arms up overhead, dropping the hands between the shoulders behind the head. And now just notice, maybe your tailbone has started to wing out and your back arching into that C shape. Draw the tailbone under, lift the navel so that the lower back is stabilized, and then maybe you can lift the gaze. And again, the opening is happening in the upper body, not the lower body, not the lower back, sorry. All happening in the thoracic spine. Lift the gaze, tailbone dropping. 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's release the pose, release the arms, bring them back down. We're going to parallel the feet. Bring the hands to the kidneys, either side of the spine, just below the waist. And folding forwards on an exhale. And you can give your kidneys a nice, vigorous rub to give them a warm up. The head's dropping down. Oh, that feels nice. Okay, enough of that. Let's come back up. So you can bend the knees or you can come straight back up with a flat back, however you wish. This feels so comforting and also kind of stimulating. Nice. There's got a bit, you may get a little bit tingly. Good. Okay. Feet back to 45 degrees. Bending into the knees once more, with the knees over the ankles, bringing the arms up and dropping them down over. Just notice that tendency for the tail, the bum to stick out. Let's bring it all back in. Lift the pelvic floor, stabilize the lower back and open through into the upper back. Lifting the gaze. 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's release. Bring the arms back down once more, paralleling the feet, hands to the kidneys, coming into forward fold so you can rub or just place the hands there to have the warmth dissipating through. Having the head hanging. So allow yourself to feel the weight of the head, supposedly 5 or 6 kilos. I've never actually tried to weigh my own head, but allow the head to be doing the work of releasing tightness in the neck and the C-spine. Good. Okay, let's just take that one more time. So coming up in the method of your choice, that can be rolling up or coming up with a flat back. Now, splay the feet out once more, releasing the hands, bringing them forward into prayer, and allowing them to drop behind. So yeah, notice that keeping the lower abdominal area contained, tailbone dropping down, lifting the gaze. 3, 2, and 1. Good. And releasing once more. Parallel the feet again. Bring the hands to the kidneys and come into the forward fold once more. This time we can leave one hand where it is, release the other hand and reach over to the opposite foot, ankle or shin to take a little twist here. So you may feel that you want to move your hand into the centre of the back, to the sacrum. This feels a bit more balanced. You may also want to you could take the top hand, wrap it round the back and reach for the crease of the opposite hip. It's a little bit more opening there. Good. Okay, let's release the hands, bringing them into an aeroplane position. And then reversing the posture over onto the other side, so reaching for the opposite ankle, shin or foot, using it to draw you through, and placing the hand, either if you took the hand on the sacrum or if you took it wrapping round to the hip crease of the opposite side. Do that too. Couple more breaths here if you can. Good. Let's release the top hand back into the aeroplane position and coming up with a flat back, nice and strong. Good. So from here, let us take Trikonasana. So just check your base. The space between the feet is one leg's length and they are in line with each other, so the heel intersects the arch of the opposite foot. Let's work dynamically today with Trikonasana. I know it's a little bit stronger, but you know, need to keep our energy and our warmth up, so we're going to take an inhale. As we exhale, we're going to reach it as far as we can. And then bringing the arms over. In fact, if you want to have them in the classic Trikonasana position, you can. If you want to work a little bit more strongly, you can imagine that you've got a beach ball between your hands. But we're not going to stay here because we're going to inhale. We're going to take an inhale. And exhale back up from Mula Bandha, using your pelvic floor to lift you back up. Reverse the configuration of the feet. Inhaling. Exhaling to reach. Inhaling to come into the position, Trikonasana of your choice. Exhaling back up from Mula Bandha. Reversing the feet. Inhaling. Exhaling to reach. Inhaling to come over Exhaling back up. Reversing the feet. Inhaling. Exhaling, reach. Inhaling, coming over with the arm position of your choice. Exhaling back up. Reverse the feet. This is the last one on each side. Inhaling. Exhaling to reach. Inhale, arm position of choice. Exhale, back up. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, reach. Inhale with the arms. Exhale, back up, Mula Bandha. And parallel the feet, relax the arms down. Just maybe you need to give yourself a little bit of a shake. Quite strong work there. Good. Right, let's see what's next. Yeah, we'll do one more standing thing. So we're going to do it. I can do it facing forwards. I'll start facing forwards just so you can see the configuration of the feet. They're hip width apart, and because oftentimes people can get their feet in a row, and it creates a not on a tightrope, and it's not such a good alignment. So we've got the feet hip width apart, hips facing forwards. We can take the hands either into prayer, or holding the wrists, or holding the elbows behind the back. So whichever one is suitable for you. I'm going to go with prayer. So where we are, inhaling, we're going to open up through the front of the body. And as we exhale, folding forward over that front leg. So just experiencing what you can and what you do through the back of the body there. Maybe the hamstrings are calling to you, just envisage them loosening, relaxing. Have the head hang heavy again as we did before. Couple more breaths if you can. And inhaling to come up. And release the hands. Give them a little shake if necessary. And we'll just take a little vinyasa to swap legs. So folding forwards, we'll step back into downward facing dog. Come down through knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhaling to up dog or cobra or sphinx. Exhaling back to down facing dog. And you're going to step forward this time with the other foot, the one that wasn't in front last time. And come into your 45 degrees with the back foot. And again, we've got the feet hip width apart, so the hips are facing forwards. Bringing your hands, arms into the position of your choice. So if you are holding the wrist or elbow, have a different one in front this time. Into prayer, or have prayer. Prayer, that doesn't apply. Again, stabilizing in the core, opening through the upper body as you inhale and exhaling to fold forward over the opposite leg, this time the front leg. Having it all nice and loose as possible. And experiencing what you do through the back of that front leg, the back plane of the body, having the head hang. So experiencing that connection all the way from the little toe up through the backs of the legs and the backs, either side of the spine, looping overhead into the corners, inner corners of the eyes. Couple more breaths. Good. And starting to come up. And releasing the hands, might need to give them another little shake. So from here, we're going to come into, actually no, we're going to come onto our backs for a little bit of core work. So stepping forward with the back foot. And we're going to come down via a squat. So taking whichever foot position you need. I need to come quite wide, but the squat masters can come straight down with their feet together, but I can't do that. Actually, my sister showed me she could do that last week. So, okay, so coming down slowly in whatever squat takes your fancy. Yeah, we thought it was a genetic thing, but then she could just go straight into the feet together, knees together squat quite easily. And using, if you feel like it, you can use your elbows to separate the knees, get a little bit of opening in the hips there, and gently lowering the bum down onto the floor with control, if possible. Usually not. And do have your hands behind you to give. And from here, lowering down onto the back. So if you've got a cold floor, please do have a blanket or something underneath. Slowly, slowly. With control, suddenly going really quickly. Okay, good. So from here, we're going to be working with, just moving from the sofa, having the heels, the soles of the feet together. Interlacing the fingers into Ksapana Mudra. So fingers interlaced, 4 fingers pointing together, and thumbs crossing over. And you can work either with the feet, the legs on the ground, or if you want to, you can lift them up. So work depending on how you want to work. As we inhale, taking the arms up overhead. As we exhale, heart and fingers point towards the left knee. Nice long exhale. Inhaling, no rushing here. Exhaling, nice long exhale, lifting up in Mula Bandha as well, pointing to the right knee. Inhale, arms up overhead, exhaling down the middle. Long exhale has the effect of calming the nervous system. Inhaling, fingers up overhead. Exhaling, shoulder, heart and fingers to left knee. Inhale. Exhale, heart and fingers to right knee. Inhaling up overhead. Exhaling down the middle. We'll take one more set if we can. If we can't, just imagining it, as Diane always says, gives us 80% of the benefits. Exhale, left knee. Inhale. Exhale, right knee. Last one. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, down the middle. Let's hold here if we can. 3, 2, and 1. And release. Bring the knees together and take the feet wide, so to reverse the rotation of the hips. And you can take the hands alongside the body into a hands up or cactus position. Very Wild West cowboy analogy. Let's just check the time. 9:45, okay. Okay, let me just see what else is next. Okay, so I think let us do a little bit more with this. Actually, we haven't done pigeon yet. So let's take, if you're already on your back, Sidney, I know you like to take pigeon on your back. So if you're taking pigeon on your back, you can take the right ankle, outside ankle bone to the top of the left knee, and then draw the left knee in towards you. If you're more familiar with pigeon on your front, you can take the right leg in front, bent knee, just only as far as feels good without any pain in the knee at all. And lifting onto the forefingers and walking the hands forward. Now if that feels nice, or if you want to go a little bit further, you can, to get a little bit more, get a twist into it, you can take the left hand, so the opposite hand to the leg that's in the front, and thread it through under the other arm. So then you're just deepening the whole posture, getting a twist in. Probably feel it pulling into your glutes. Couple more breaths if you can. Good. Let's start to unravel. So if you're on your back, you can lower the legs down and unravel them. I'll show you. Lower the legs down, unravel them, and just lift the hips and lay them back down. On the front, we will tuck the toes under, come into down facing dog, and then come forward with the other knee. So on your back, it's now time to bring the left knee to the left ankle to the top of the right knee and draw in. Obviously, we want to be avoiding any pain. Otherwise, and if you're taking pigeon on your front, we have the knee coming forward. Lift onto the finger pads before we walk the hands forward. And if you wish to deepen the posture by taking that twist, threading the opposite arm through onto the other side, you can do that too. Couple more breaths here. And once more, starting to unravel. On your front, we're going to step back into downward facing dog. On your back, you unravel the legs, place the heels near the buttocks and lift the hips once more just to realign things. And from here, let's just see what the time is. Yes, we have time, I think, just for a little bit of forward folding. So if you're on your back, coming up the opposite way, slowly like this. Oh, already up. Okay, we're going to take a forward fold. Now, we're going to bring one foot in towards the groin. I'll show you. Now, what tends to happen always, not always actually, what tends to happen is once we're in a sitting position, the pelvis starts to tilt backwards, and we want it to be tilting forwards. So what usually helps people is to sit on a cushion or a block. So it can be either. So just to lift the pelvis up so that we're getting the forward fold, rather than what happens, the pelvis tilts back and then we start to reach forward like that. We want to lift, pull the flesh of the butt cheeks behind so that we're nice and upright, and then hinge forward from the hips. So the other thing that also really helps here with tight hamstrings is to something under the front knee so that you don't feel, so you can relax it, so that the back of the body. So let's, taking whatever props we need, sitting on the cushion. Oh, the other thing is also, you can also support this outside, this knee that's on this side, so that you feel that can relax too. Good. So lots of props there. So from here, once we're in our position where that pelvis is not rolling backwards, inhaling to lift the arms, and exhaling, we're hinging forward from the hips and then thinking about the heart moving forwards. So the hands, doesn't matter where they come to, they can come to just here or wherever. If you can reach down, round to the bubbling spring point once more without too much pulling on the shoulders or also pulling in the lower back, which is what happens when our hamstrings are tight. Instead of releasing in the hamstrings, we can start to have this pulling on the lower back. So just be mindful of that. Allow the head to hang once more and just experiencing, opening up where you can feel it. So where you've got resistance, just experience that without judgment. Look at it, experience it with kindness and softness. Couple more breaths here, and becoming soft and quiet. Good. Start to walk the hands back. Take a little counter movement just for that. So we'll bring the hands just behind the hips and feet in front. I'm just going to lift body up. More breaths, just countering that before I'm going to lower the hips down and come onto the other side. So taking whichever props you need, under the buttocks, under both, either knee, both knees. Inhaling to extend, exhaling to hinge forward from the hips, leading with the heart. And dropping the head once more. Experiencing any opening in the back of the body, noticing if you've started to tense up in any way, in any parts, and just bring your kind, gentle awareness to those parts. So the Sanskrit name for this posture, Asana, head to knee pose, is a very unhelpful name, because it doesn't really matter about the head reaching the knee. What matters more is about the opening up through the back plane of the body, where these bladder lines run. Almost experiencing it up from the tip of the little toe, or the outside of the little toe, into the inner corner of the eye. Good. Okay, let's start to come out. Just gently. Briefly take that counter posture, so hands behind the hips, lifting. Only drop the head back if it feels good, otherwise keep looking down the length of your body. Placing the buttocks back down. We're going to make our way onto our back, Spinal Shavasana. But this way, nice and slowly. Try not to round. Coming back. Oh yeah, can round in the low back. As we gently lower ourselves down. Good. Final spinal twist. Right knee over the left. And just allow them to lower to the left hand side. if it feels good, keeping both shoulders on the floor. So, and if it feels good, you can look over to the right, but really that doesn't really matter. And also you might need to take your arms out for stability. Inhale. Exhale, lift back up with Mula Bandha, pelvic floor. Unravel the legs and we'll take it over onto the other side. So left knee over the right, lowering gently over onto the right hand side. Experiencing the parasympathetic nervous system kicking in. Inhale. And exhale, Mula Bandha, pelvic floor as you lift back up. Unravel the legs. Lift the hips. Just to realign, placing the spine back down one vertebra at a time. And coming into your most comfortable, supported position for Shavasana. So if that means having something over your knees to support the lower back, then please do. Otherwise, extending the legs away at hip width apart, with the feet flopping open to the sides. The shoulder blades flattening into the earth. The backs of the hands resting on the floor, with the palms facing upwards, and slightly away from the body. The neck is long. The level of the chin is lower than that of the forehead. And closing the eyes if that feels good. Relaxing the face. The jaw. And allowing a soft, spontaneous breath in through the nostrils. Noticing the lowest place in your body that you can feel it. And allowing this spontaneous breath to breathe you. You can allow your awareness to be drawn to any sensation in the body or lack of sensation. And just observing, experiencing, noticing without judgment or wishing it was any different. And starting to deepen the breath. Bringing some movement into the fingers and the toes. And on your next inhalation, taking the arms up overhead for a big, expansive in-breath. And as you exhale, rolling over onto your right-hand side. Allowing the breath to come in more strongly through Ida, the moon side, the left side, the calming side. And when you're feeling completely ready, coming up into comfortable sitting position. Namaste, arigato gozaimashita. Thank you for your practice this morning. Thank you for practicing with me.
Thank you. That was great.